the Zerg base, if I remember correctly, from inside his main base or from that area, he was
I,
able to nuke.
I have no idea. I don't think anyone's tried that. This map is so new now. Very interesting
Okay.
map. And spawning in the bottom left position of this map is former Complexity Gaming. I would call him, I guess, a retired pro gamer, rsvp, who's up
His
1 to
oppo
0. Sorry.
his opponent is down 1-0 after failing the 3-hatch Hydra bus. He stuck to that composition, did not work out well. He needs to tech to layer and get the layer units out this time if he wants to win. His name is the Red Bandit, spawning as Red Zerg on top right position.
And wanting that early pool again, and that's actually not that bad on this map. This map has a very wide choke for the natural, with only the 16 mineral field that can be mined out to make it even wider. So putting on some early pressure here, RSVP again is going to go for a fast expand of sorts. Maybe a 2-gate, but probably just a forge fast expand.
Alright, and to just describe the map, Match Point is a 2-player map. You spawn on the top right or bottom left, and you can kind of split down the map and down the middle. One player can get all the bases on the left-hand side, the other player can get the bases on the right-hand side, and there's this really huge ridge in the middle where the main battles can happen. But also the main battle can happen on top of the ridges over there, where you can see those 2 black circles in the mini-map, and the battles can happen over there. Those are the crucial battles to make sure that your opponent cannot push into the expansions on the top left and around the 9 o'clock / 3 o'clock position.
I was trying to follow your descriptions as well as possible with my observation skills. I don't know if I hit it right or not, but RSVP is going to get a cannon before Nexus because he saw that very early pool with speed incoming. That was usual for a period in Brood War. Very rare for Starbow have I seen so early circling speed before the natural expansion for Surrey.
Especially on a 2-player map where it's really easy to scout, and also the fact that RSVP played against this build in the previous game.
Well,
So I'm not sure if going for the same build once again is gonna be too effective, because RSVP, he already has a probe in position, he already has a pylon down that is completely walled off.
I really hope it is. And
This is not Brood War. We know for sure that this is walled off.
well, sometimes, you know, there's some buildings look like they wall off and they don't, just because of some map geometry that, oh, he's going to cancel the pylon. Yes, he is. And he puts down a gateway instead.
There we go. All he has to do is mine out the minerals
Yes,
over there.
that's a perfect wall off. RSVP playing so, like, it feels like everything he does is very well thought out. He doesn't do anything by just sheer chance, and I would definitely just throw down buildings there without thinking about that whatsoever, but he does, and he's gonna open that right now. So cute play. Really, really like that.
And it's also interesting that RSVP is sticking to this double gateway play, getting a lot of zealots out to pressure against his opponent earlier on in the game, not opting to go for a Stargate whatsoever.
That's true. He likes the Stargate versus Terran, but not versus Zerg for some reason. So that's very different from what you saw in Brood War, which is, I guess, the game you can compare this the most to. For those of you who are new here, this is Starbow, which is more based on Brood War than StarCraft 2. We don't have units as Colossus, Swarm Hosts, and Corruptors and Immortals. We have other units like Lurkers and Reavers instead. So, and those are more based off of Brood War. But it's not really the units that make Starbow unique, I would say. It's more especially are the economy system, that it actually is good for you to expand as much as possible and not just stay on 3 mining bases. The more you expand, the better income you will have, because each worker after the initial 8 or 9 workers will give diminishing returns. Slight diminishing returns. So being more out on the whole map, not just staying within your 3 close bases, are more rewarding. I don't know if that made any sense.
Well, now we have RSVP just trying to harass third base once again. He has Zealous in position, but gets perfect surround on the Zealous, but here comes a reinforcement, so the Red Bandit does not want to face it fully. In fact, he needs to save the Queen, and this hatchery is just going to get slowly attacked. However, I highly believe that the Red Bandit can actually fend off this attack, especially with the second Queen and the number of Zerglings that he has right now.
Indeed, I think he can. God save the queen from zealots, and he's doing so. So, and he's gonna get us around here. Oh, he's trying to get us around on the zealots. He's trying to get the queens in the zealots. Trying to move away. Does he
Oh,
have the rift?
perfect.
He doesn't have the rift. And he's gonna lose every single zealot. And I feel like the red bandit is... I don't know, it seems that he's trying to go for these cheesy builds because I think he feels a little bit intimidated by RSVP, but he is not that much. Like, I think they are more on the same level than the red bandit maybe thinking. So I think just going for a more standard play could actually prove very useful for the red bandit. I don't know if I like this engagement though.
Or the slag.
Oh, that's our admin.
Ow.
Well, if anyone were to lag, it would be he
I
would be
mean,
the least useful one right now. So
I mean, he has an ID British Pride, and he's trying to spectate on an NA server. What do you think is gonna happen?
okay, well he got himself back online again. That's good.
Yeah, this Zergling attack, I don't know why he did it. He only killed one Zealot, lost every single one of his Zerglings. And you also have to realize the reason why he went for the counter. While he was making all those Zerglings, he wasn't making any drones behind it compared to his opponent. He could have had a lot of economic advantage, but he had to squeeze out a lot of Zerglings to defend against the Zealots early on. In fact, this game is gonna be same for Red Bandit. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, as he's gonna try to go for the Hydra bus once again in this game.
Oh wow, and also like, I completely agree with you there. That attack was completely useless. Like he had all these Zerglings, he had the map control, he could do whatever he wanted, and he just gave it up for nothing almost. So that's really sad. He's gonna still be able to defend versus the Zealots, but he forces out 3 spine crawlers that he wouldn't have to make if I just kept the Zerglings alive. And no lair, the same build twice. And the thing about this, yeah, it might be mind games to say, oh, he's not going to go for the same build twice, but the problem about that mind game is that even if you are smart and think he's not going to go for the same build twice, you always remember the last game. You always have that in the back of your mind, and you always think about that, even unconsciously. Oh, that's what he did last game. So that mind game doesn't really work as well as some people think, in my opinion.
Except Yellow, who just dies to bunker rushes 3 times in a row.
Oh.
But that's a different story as the... Oh, look at this RSVP just gonna charge inside the main base. Can he actually fend off the Zealot? Seems like one Zealot saying, you know what, I'm just gonna ditch you guys. I'm gonna give my master the full scout inside the main base. No layer whatsoever sees a Hydra, then he exactly knows what he is up against.
And oh wow, the storm is already on the way. This is not gonna do anything. Like if he could just makes a couple of High Templars now, they're gonna have so much energy ready for these Hydralisk, and at this point he's not making any more cannons, and that might just work. And getting the Dark Templar out, he's just doing everything right. And the Red Bandit doesn't have an Overseer close at all, and Overseers are quite slow before you have Lair. How the Overlords and Overseers work in Starbow is that you can make Overlords do not detect like they did in Brood War, but you can make them into Overseers before you get Lair. They're very slow, and when Lair finishes, they get a small speed boost, but then you can also upgrade them to get an even more speed boost as the normal speed upgrade for Overlords and Overseers they would have from StarCraft 2.
And what's interesting about this game right now is that our Zerg player, the Red Bandit, is actually going to attack after being scouted completely. So nice play by him, but with RSVP having a nice scouting and knowing that the Hydras did not arrive in time, he's gonna take a third base knowing that that was a little bit of a fake.
Yeah, it actually was, and that's very interesting. He's trying to fool him, and he's double fooling him by not doing what he thought he was going to do, if that even makes any sense.
I mean, that's what he had to do, because one, he made so many Zerglings that he didn't have enough minerals to squeeze out 10 plus Hydras at the moment, so he was just gonna die to his opponent. And two, if he just tries to Zergling all in, that's foolish on this map, especially with the perfect wall-off that RSVP has right now. So
Speaking
this
of
tech transition I really like from
Speaking
the
of
Red
perfect
Bandit.
wall-offs, the Red Bandit is very well defended as well. He's using the SimCity structure to his advantage. He's gonna try and sneak in a Dark Templar. It's just not gonna happen.
This is really nice for the Red Bandit. He can actually stabilize on 3 bases as long as he defends against a Warp Prism harassment. But the problem is, if he has a wall-off perfectly like this, he needs to make sure that he can actually have all of his units on top of this ramp, and also get a fourth base behind this, because getting a third base is nice, having a lot of minerals is nice, but the key point for the Zergs and their expansion is getting a gas expansion instead of just mineral only expansion.
Yes, but he's actually like, even though they're on 3 bases each, it's only now that RSVP is getting his third base to kick in, and he is quite behind on workers as well. So the Red Bandit has had an economic lead for quite some time, but he has had to sacrifice tech. I guess the most scary part for the Red Bandit now is all the High Templars and a potential quite scary push from RSVP that could come within a couple of minutes.
Yeah, well, the Red Bandit actually has to make a decision. He is going for the Lurkers, which is going to be correct choice against what RSVP has right now. But first of all, he needs to buy enough time to get the Lurkers out. Moving out on the map with the Hydras is nice to put the pressure. But the problem is this is match point, which means that if you're trying to attack into your opponent's natural, then you're going to have to walk up a smoke choke. Which means that all those Hydras can get stormed, and he really needs to avoid that, as the High Templars are in perfect position. And the Red Bandit, he does have nice hiding micro, but like I said, you don't want to stay over there with the Hydras.
Well, as long as he can get himself back to creep, he should regenerate that quite nicely. There is no speed bonus on creep in Starbow, but there is regeneration bonus, and he's being quite careful, and I like that. But it's quite easy to get yourself surrounded on match point as well, with the 2 different entrances to your opponent's bases. If he splits up his army, gonna try and snipe the cannon, not happening. Losing a couple of Hydras on the way, and the fast sellouts with the +1 upgrades are doing a good number on the Hydralisks.
Good news for the Red Bandit is that he's going to have +1 carapace soon, so it's not like the previous game where he didn't have any upgrades whatsoever. And he did have enough time to go for the Lurkers, but there's a 3 slots and 1 DT drop inside the main base once again.
It is. It's one of those signature RSVP strategies, it seems, and he's going to kill a lot of drones, finally pulling them out. In the meantime, he has to deal with the main army of RSVP, trying to attack the front, coming in from different angles, and a group of zealots going to the 4th base. RSVP is being all over the place right now. And he sees the Lurkers, sees I cannot do anything there, but I'm going to try and be all over the place elsewhere, and the DT has no way to be detected.
Yeah, the Red Bandit is not paying attention right now. He's so focused on getting the 4th base right now. He did get the Zealots, and does he have the Overseers in position now? Yes, he does. The DT is going to get taken out. So, a little bit sloppy from the Red Bandit, but nonetheless, it isn't as bad as the last game. In fact, he did secure up to a 4th base, which means that he's going to have 3 gas mining economy, but behind this RSVP is also taking a 4th base, knowing that his opponent cannot easily push out on the map.
The Red Band is actually staying ahead in worker count, which is commendable during all of this. But like you said, RCP is getting that 4th base as well. It's going to be very... the Red Bandit might be playing from behind soon. RCP definitely has the army advantage when it comes to trying to move around out on the map. It's just a little bit slower because of the High Templars. Ooh, and he might get these Hydras surrounded. RSVP sees it from the high ground. The Red Bandit doesn't know that RSVP knows, and this should be able to get his units in position.
Like you were saying, RSVP, he has his Mars, he has some brain, as the Zealots are coming from the front and from the back, completely sandwiched. There's not going to be any kiting for the Hydra, so he actually needs to go to the front and try to break out the Dragoons, but he does get stormed perfectly. Some of the Hydras are going to make it out alive, but that is an engagement that the Red Bandit did not want at all.
That is true, and I think I have StarCraft 2 music playing. What am I doing here? Let me switch that right now. What? I don't understand this. I says that Brood Warrior music, but I swear that's StarCraft 2 music. I don't know how this works.
Well, in the observing mode, I don't think it plays Brood Warrior music.
Ah, that might be why. Okay, well, enjoy the StarCraft 2 music then. I'm not gonna open...
Enjoy StarCraft 2 music. That doesn't make sense.
Oh, Storm Drop! It's gonna storm Hydralisks. That's a new one. But in the meantime, RCP is gonna try and snipe this 4th base from the Red Bandit, and
he has one more storm, and he could just go for it on top of the drones right now. That's completely exposed, and the Red Bandit is not paying attention. Gets up to 9 kills with the double storm. One on the Hydra, the other on top of these drones. Really nice storm, and now he's catching up in the worker count. At the same time, he's gonna try to attack into the 4th base, but it's not gonna work out because there's too many lurkers, and it's really hard to push up that small ramp.
I'm always so weirded out when the 2 High Templars go together to become an arc, and it looks like they're gonna kiss, and then like, whoa, what just happened? And the DT still in the main base. That's got to be a new DT, but it has a lot of kills and has a lot of damage. Okay, there it's finally down, and RSVP is trying to tear his opponent limb from limb, I feel, in this game. Got a total of 18 workers killed now.
And this is really good because that's really forcing the Red Bandit to build more Hydras, which is something that he doesn't want it to do at this point. He wants to save up as many minerals as possible. He has the Ultralisk Den, so he wants to get the Ultras down instead of making additional Hydras. But because of constant harassment, he actually needs to build these additional units. Oh, but this is a nice little victory for the Red Bandit. There goes down the Nexus. As the Zerglings, they'll die, but they will be remembered for taking out the 4th Nexus.
And they are definitely expendable. A big army of Zerglings. That should be the Expendables 3 movie.
Well, certainly these Zerglings. Oh, nice job catching one High Templar off guard. They are going to get it. But the rest of this army is caught out of position. I'm not too sure if staying on the bottom of the ramp is a good decision, especially since this is Starbow, not StarCraft 2.
Yeah, there is a high ground advantage. I'm just questioning the Red Bandit's decision to move out here in general. He just had a nice little victory sniping that Nexus. He could have just, you know, counted his victories and just stayed home and conjured up a much bigger army when rsvp's macro potential has been thwarted. And no, he's gonna go for it again. He's gonna get himself sandwiched with so many storms.
Oh my god, 4 storms are gonna wipe out the majority of the army from the Red Bandit. So this run by, it needs to kill the Nexus, but these units need to stay alive. If not, then RSVP can go for a counterattack and finish the game right away.
He's trying to make Ultralisk behind this, but he's gonna have to make a whole lot of Ultralisk behind this to deal with this army from RSVP. He's throwing away his army, trying to delay an inevitable push from RSVP with this big army, and he needs to delay it for a very long time and not lose too many units in the process. Getting another cancel, though, that's nice, but losing that group of Hydras and Lurkers, that hurted the Red Bandit so much, and in my opinion, it was completely pointless as well. I don't know what he was trying to achieve there.
You know, I really don't know. RSVP could have also finished the game if he just ignored the 3rd Nexus, just cancel it, because he is taking the 6 o'clock right now. So he could have just gone for a counterattack, completely demolish his opponent, and take like 2 to 3 bases for 1. So now we see that the Red Bandit has scouted the 6 o'clock position. The Nexus has been cancelled. I don't think he needed to cancel that, actually.
No, that was surprising, but it doesn't really matter that much at this point. Well, I guess RSVP... I was gonna say he just needs to go and attack, but actually, you know, the Red Bandit is quite well defended. So it's not an easy position to attack into. He could try and sneak up the natural and just kill off the evolution chamber and just go straight into the main base. And that's always the threat in this map.
That is why I hated playing on this map.
That's why it's not in the main tournament map pool, I think, as well, because a lot of people feel the same way.
Well, the Red Bandit is doing an amazing job, just 9 to 4th base once again as RSVP's units are out of position. He needs to focus fire on the Nexus, however, to make sure that even if the links go down, he can get the Nexus. And is he gonna let it finish? He does let it finish, but there's full Zerglings around the Nexus. And this is in StarCraft 2. There's no force fields to get the Zerglings away from Nexus.
True, it might, a chrono on that last cannon might have helped a little, but maybe not. Oh, and he's gonna try and get this base up and steal it from the Red Bandit. And he's gonna have to defend versus a huge army. That Lurker is going on a stroll, and it's not gonna be a happy one. And yeah, he just needs to head out of there and probably just cancel this base.
There's only 4 Ultras. These Hydras are not gonna do anything. So his units all need to be grouped together. I mean, where's the Defiler? He doesn't have enough Defiler. He's just making pure Ultras. Right now with the Zerglings. Zerglings are not going to be great against the Archons and the Zals that he has right now, so he needs to rely on the Ultras to do tons of damage in the main battle while also trying to secure additional expansion.
We have a 3-2 upgraded Protoss versus a 2-1 upgraded Zerg, so RSVP is ahead in the upgrades as well. And oh, the Chitin, no, that's the Carapace. I thought it was the Chitinous plating for Ultralisk, but that is finished. The Ultralisk do have that thick armor with 4 at the moment. And people say there's no death bowls in Starbow, and I don't know what RSVP got, but it's a big army, that's for sure.
Well, at least you can try to spread them apart. That's
Man,
one thing.
You know, 4th time is the charm. Another round of Zerglings. Let's see if we can do it. Oh, a Dark Templar here now. I like that. If he chronobusts these cannons, I think he should be fine, but
and he actually did not pay attention. He's just attacking the cannon straight out, so this time it's not going to work out. But in fact, the Zerglings do not know if they want to commit suicide for not getting their job done, or just want to go back to their base and get scolded by his master.
Oh, but we do have a huge drop in the main base of RSVP with Ultralisk, and yeah, and you know the Red Bandit is doing a really good job with just making sure RSVP cannot attack him and cannot rest. In the meantime, though, a nice little drop going into RSVP main base, but he's actually ready for that. And the Red Bandit needs to actually make his units attack these buildings. and forcing the whole army of RSVP back and actually sending them some ultras in the meantime. I don't know if I agree with that.
Oh, yeah, the Dragoons are perfect. I mean, yes, there's no perfect surround on the Ultras, but the Dragoons are getting a free shot on these Ultras. And these two Ultras just rallied wrong. Goodbye. Sad day to be an Ultra.
Yeah, it's
But he's doing a nice job dropping inside the main base once again. There's a nice storm on top of those Hydras. But all the Red Bandit has to do is split up and get the full energy High Templars. They do force out the storm at the last second, but those are only on the Ultras. And at the same time, there's an attack at the fort base. This is really nice play coming out from the Red Bandit.
yeah, he's like always been behind in army, but he's just making sure RSVP cannot attack him. He's just being all over the place at all times. I think I'm gonna have to mute my microphone a little bit, and I'll let you just do solo casting for just a little bit, if that's okay.
Alright, well, I don't know if you're gonna be on my camera, but there's a little torque going on at the natural with all those units being stuck. Dragoons, I thought you guys were only stupid in Brood War, not in Starbow. But oh, these High Templars just getting surrounded by Zerglings. This is something that you do not want. Loses 3, loses 4, loses all. Not so much, but he is gonna save one High Templar behind this, but at the same time, there's a drop inside the main base. That's just gonna demolish all these Dragoons that he has right now. Yes, the Ultra does get taken out, but the Hydras are doing a nice job against the Dragoons. But the key point right now is RSVP, even if he's losing some units inside the main base and barely holding it, he did save the Nexus. The problem, however, is it's really low, which means that if the Red Bandit just sends about like 10 Zerglings over there, then he can take out the base easily. And if you look at the overall picture, the Red Bandit is making tons of Zerglings. This is really cheap to make, especially since he has up to 5 bases now. And the 6 o'clock position, which has been contested before, is now completely given away to the Red Bandit. So now he's going to try to go for an attack, simultaneous attack, one at the natural, which is not going to work out as well with the Dragoons arriving. However, once you're looking at here, you have to realize the 4th base is gone. It's like magic once again, as the Red Bandit for the 3rd time, or the 4th time, excuse me, has taken out the 4th Nexus. So RSVP is down to 3 bases, but he is really only down to 1 mining base, mineral only, with most of the gases mined out. So RSVP, he has more army than his opponent, 111 supply of army to 78. But the problem is, the Red Bandit is doing a nice job splitting up his army and making sure that RSVP cannot expand. So now is the time for RSVP to decide. Do I just want to split up my army in 2 or 3 and make sure my opponent cannot go for a counterattack? Well, this is certainly nice. Just 9 against it drops completely with the Dragoons and the Zealots that he has inside the main base. But he really needs to decide soon. And he decides to go for the Nexus. What the player can do right now as Protoss is either take a forward expansion and leave your army completely over there, so that the Zerg cannot actually engage and take out the 4th base once again, or just gather up all of your army and go for one deathball final push and try to finish your opponent. What I'm really disappointed about the Red Bandit is that he is taking all these bases, which is nice, but 1, he doesn't have the gas at 6 o'clock, and 2, even if he has hype, he only has +3 carapace, he doesn't have any attack upgrades going on, and he doesn't have any defilers. He's losing a lot of overlords at this point. So now this might be a time. This might be the point where RSVP does a lot, just goes into multiple bases and take him down. That is still a lot of ultras, however, and the Archon count is really low. But at the same time, look at these beautiful Zerglings just going to the 4th base once again. No sentries, no cannons, no mothership cannon. Ha ha ha! This is Starbow, as the 4th base is under fire once again, and those Zealots, they're really nice. They're well upgraded. I feel like the Red Bandit could have done a lot better job if he just focused fire on the Nexus, but because of the upgrade difference, he wasn't able to take it down. But he is also doing a nice job making sure that his opponent does not take out the 6 o'clock. But I'm not too sure if the engage in the middle of the map is the correct decision. He only has 5 Ultras and the Zerglings. Like I said, the problem right now is that he has a Hive, but his Hive tech unit is only Ultras. No Defilers whatsoever. If he had the mix of Lurkers with the Ultras, then it would be fine. If he had the mix of Ultras with the Defiler Dark Swarm, that would be perfect against the Reaperless Protoss composition. But he is only sticking to Ultras. Only now the Defiler Mount is going to finish, and he's going to be able to use the Dark Swarm to defend against the attack, but he still needs to buy some time, and the Protoss Death Ball is growing right now. 165 supply to 129 as RSVP finally secures his fourth base as the third base is really mining out with only 2 mineral patches left. And RSVP's units are split up in two. He doesn't want to make the 1A mistake at this point. He's doing a nice job dropping inside the main base constantly, but the Red Bandit, learning from game number 1, he knows that he needs to leave some units back at home to defend against the drops. The DT over here doing a nice job defending against the 12 o'clock position, and the Zerglings just gonna poke out, not gonna return home. Or at least only one of them did not return home, and there is a Consume. He just needs to wait additional 50 seconds to get the Dark Swarms out. Consume, if you do not realize what it is in Starbow, works the same as Brood War. If I remember correctly, they consume ally units, but it gives them additional energy so that if your Defiler does not have any energy left, all you need to do is consume a couple of Zerglings and you're going to have full energy Defilers.
That is correct, and I am back. Sorry about that.
There we go.
I don't
Took
know.
me a long time to solo cast.
Yeah, sorry. I also
It's
might
okay.
disappear again in maybe a minute or two. We'll see how stable this is. But I am observing the whole time, though. Just so you know that. And a huge drop for me from the Red Bandit, but a huge storm landing on top of everything. And I don't think this is paying for itself.
I don't know if including the Ultras over there was the correct decision. If he just sent in a lot of Zerglings and a couple of Hydras, then yes, he can trade the army for more Ultras. But that was not the correct decision. So, well, at the same time, he's going to try to attack into the fort base, but that ramp of Doom and the Storm just hitting the Hydras perfectly. Oh, man. However, he's doing a nice job just taking out all of these high thinkers and forcing them to morph into Archons. But because that's such a small choke over there, there's no way the Red Bandit can actually attack up that ramp.
Wow, moving that Observer in place right as the Lurkers were boring to give him vision right away. Really nice move from rsvp, and now he can commit more defenses to this fourth base because it's his only mining base, and now it's going to be much more difficult for the Red Bandit to do anything about it. And it seems that the game has stabilized a little bit. The Red Bandit is trying to be as active as he can, but he's running out of options, of harassing options, of things to do. And it seems, I'm not sure if rsvp wants to try and attack this fifth base from the Red Bandit.
He's gonna have to
might
lift
be
out
a
of there.
trap. He might get the base,
That's
but he
a
might
huge
lose his
leap
whole
right there,
army.
because, you know, this is like Hotel California. You can enter anytime you want, but you can never leave because all those units. Well, this is StarCraft, so never mind. You can just lift out the units.
Yeah,
My
you
bad.
see, they have the rift here, so yeah, that is a huge difference. your California metaphor just died completely with the rift.
Well, he does have Dark Swarm now, which means that he can actually attack with the Ultras efficiently. This was the problem that the Red Bandit had for the first 10 minutes after he hit Hive. Going for the Ultra is nice. They're beefy units, but you want the Defiler out to make sure that the Lurkers and the Hydras are safe under the Dark Swarm. And yes, I am Supernova Maniac, just for the guys who are wondering in the chat.
So we have a base from rsvp that just never went down, it looks like, and it looks like the Red Bandit really wants that base. This will eventually be the point of contention if this game goes any longer, because it is the only base on the map right now which is not taken. I remember we had a version of match point where we had a base over here, but that was not in Brood War, and if it's not in Brood War, it's not in Starbow. No, okay, that's not true, but
Well,
but we changed
really
it back to the original.
I'm really satisfied with the map because it really feels like Brood War.
It does.
The map is really good. And the layout and everything is perfect. And I think it actually works pretty well with Starbow. But oh, did he trap inside in there? He needs to watch out because here comes the main army from Protoss. The one storm is gonna whiff. So thank God for the Red Bandit. But there's additional storms. Nice job just baiting out the storms as much as possible.
This is turning into a little bit more stale of a game right now. It's very difficult. Like you said, this map does have the split map situation towards the end game, unfortunately, and it is difficult for the players to engage each other at this point. I'm not really sure like what you would be waiting for. I guess you still need some upgrades for Zerg actually, and just getting the perfect composition.
Yeah, the Chain of Dark Swarms trying to engage into the Protoss army, but the storms are so perfect, and there's still plenty of storms left for rsvp as the Red Bandit is falling into the trap. But remember, it's really hard for rsvp to attack up the ramp because one, the high ground advantage to the Spine Crawlers and the Spore Crawlers are already in position, and three, the Dark Swarms, the defender's advantage for the Red Bandit.
Yeah, I feel so sad for the Red Bandit if he loses this game because he's played so well, he's stayed in it for so long, he's tried so hard. I feel for him though because the Red RSVP is actually maxed. He's getting his economy slowly going. He's getting zealots over to that base, and there's nothing that Red Bandit can do about that because of this big army that's parked right outside. And I feel like when it comes to position-wise, I think RSVP has the better position, but he's trying to catch him on the low ground, which is really nice, but not a lot of range units to actually maximize that. A play going off. Interesting.
Yeah, play catches a couple of Dragoons over there. That was not an amazing play, so that's why I didn't scream this time around. But he's just doing a nice job trying to get RSVP into an uncomfortable position. Is he finally going to engage into this army? Seems like the storms are just too perfect for the Red Bandit to engage just yet.
The Red Bandit actually finishing that hatchery, not castling it.
I'm not too sure if engaging here is the right idea because a lot of ultras are in the red, so he needs to run away from this.
Should bring out some queens maybe and do some transfuse, make some StarCraft 2 strategies in here.
Yeah.
I really would like to see a plague on all the zealots though, because those are a lot more clumped up than the dragoons, and I think that would be quite effective use of plague at this time. We're getting some consume now. He doesn't really have any zerglings to consume, which is a shame because you get the same number of energy regardless of which unit you do consume.
Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed that there isn't burrow because you could do a burrow trick where your opponent does not see where the units are, especially without the observer. You just unburrow and plague the entire army, which is perfect. And especially in Starbow where the Defiles can actually move around, this seems like a perfect strat against this type of army from RSVP where there's still a heavy zealot count because there aren't that many workers.
Oh, and another play going off. That's a little bit better. Another one, but it's kind of hitting the same spot twice.
And you
plague do not stack like this. Oh, I was gonna say like the storms, but they do not stack either. And a nice round of Zerglings finishing just so the Defilers can get some more. I feel like he should try and just squeeze out a couple more Defilers because it's so easy to lose a couple. And if he loses Defilers now, he has nothing, and he has a ton of gas anyway. The Queen is commanding the whole army in front there like the kings of old, and it's probably not gonna go. No, there we go. The Queen.
There we go. Nice plague on the army, and he's gonna try to attack. Remember, the plague has timed out on the previous one, but that also means that there's 1 HP left on the Dragoons. But however, he lost all of his ultras because they're too low, and he did not regen without the Queens coming out. These Zealots are doing a nice job kiting all those Hydras in the front, and the Storm does a nice job chunking away the army with the supply being 176 to 90. The Red Bandit, he is slow. He's still staying in the game, but he is down to 1 mining base at 6 o'clock, and I don't see how he can squeeze out any additional units at this point.
Oh, he's gonna try and go for the base of RSVP, and he's just gonna get himself sandwiched. He's even probably gonna get the I was gonna say the lobsters, and it's almost right, but the Defilers there. It kind of do
well,
like that.
Lobster Party, ladies and gentlemen, as the Defilers are completely exposed, so Red Bandit has nowhere to go. GG! As RSVP wins the NA qualifier, and he is going to face Husa from EU.